Well, talks to end the shutdown are on hold, and the relationship between the two key figures on each side is under new pressure. President Trump abruptly denied permission for House Speaker Nancy Pelosi to use military aircraft for a trip to visit troops in Afghanistan. Now, this follows Pelosi's request for the president to delay his State of the Union address during the shutdown. Ed O'Keefe is on Capitol Hill. Ed, this is getting very heated. Good morning.
Sure is, Bianna, and a rebuke seen by many as an extraordinary breach of security protocol. The president not only revealed the speaker's closely held travel plans, he also forced her to postpone them. In a letter, Mr. Trump told Mrs. Pelosi maybe it'd make more sense for her to stay here in Washington to keep negotiating.
We need strong borders.
The shutdown that began over border security,
Without a strong border, America is defenseless.
Is now a petty political battle, with both sides exercising rarely used powers.
It's been a back-and-forth deal that Speaker Pelosi began. Really doesn't help anything at all.
The president's decision to delay Speaker Pelosi's trip came just minutes before many Democrats on the delegation boarded a bus for Joint Base Andrews. The bus left the Capitol, but then turned right around. In a letter to Pelosi, the president argued, in light of 800,000 great American workers not receiving pay, I am sure you would agree that postponing this public relations event is totally appropriate. But just last month, during the first week of the shutdown, the president used Air Force One on a quick top-secret trip to and from Iraq. And while White House officials insisted Mr. Trump's order was meant to encourage negotiations, Democrats were caught off guard.
I think the actions of the president were petty, mean-spirited.
Signaling the shutdown is far from over.
It's ridiculous.
In North Carolina, young parents Caitlin and Chris Fuller are worried about meeting their financial obligations.
We still have continued expenditures.
Chris, a scientist and EPA contractor, isn't guaranteed any back pay, so he's taken up substitute teaching.
They're, playing games with each other, and we're the people who are hurting.
Now, continuing in his role as travel agent, the president has postponed his delegation's trip to next week's World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. But CBS News has learned the First Lady took a government jet last night to Florida on her way to the family's Mar-a-Lago estate. And we should point out the State Department is now recalling most of its personnel, saying it's found enough money to keep them on the job without pay for at least 2 weeks, starting on Sunday. John?
Ed, thank you. And remember, go ahead.
I was just going to say, what's noteworthy about that is that the president and his chief of staff make decision about where the presidential fleet goes. They can sign off on it. So they can deny a delegation, they can allow the first lady, or they can allow a cabinet secretary. But it's an interesting thing about the power that the executive branch holds in terms of this aircraft.
And it often comes back to aircraft. You'll remember in 1995, Bill Clinton and Speaker Newt Gingrich got in a tussle over Newt Gingrich's treatment on Air Force One. Gingrich said he wasn't treated very well, and that soured their budget negotiations.